Hello and welcome to PlayStation Racer. My name is Morgan, full of hay fever today, so I apologise if I am sniffing a little bit and my voice is a little bit croaky. But we're going to head into the settings just to make sure that we are on hard, which we are. And then we're going to be heading over to Fiji for the next of our races, which is the Gr.1 Prototype Series. And in here, I'm going to grab the intermediate and wet tyres, because whilst this isn't going to be as wet as the race that we had before, there is a bit of moisture in the air, so I just want to keep my options open. But to start with, I'm going with the Racing Soft tyres. You can see there the settings that I've chosen. The output, the power restrictor and ballast is all maxed out. But pause and rewind the video if you want to see the settings that I've got for this particular car, but it's pretty much full out. So this is the Gr.1 Prototype Series Fuji International, and we are going as usual from last place to first over 10 laps in this beautiful car in a really lovely livery that unfortunately we can't enjoy right now, but we will at the end. So initially, this is all about just trying to get through the traffic. I've got the power setting to full lean to try and get as many laps as we can. Now we need to do 10 laps, and as you can see, laps remaining is ticking up a little bit. We're on about 8.5. So we can do a bit of fuel saving by changing up early. That will help a little bit. In fact, by doing that, we've already got the laps remaining out to a little over 9 laps. That is going to give us some options. So initially, we are looking at fuel map level 6, which is full lean, plus fuel saving by changing up early and just trying to maximize the fuel as much as we can so that we do get some options. I did talk about weather, but at the moment the track is nice and dry. The sky is nice and blue with clouds, so it's looking pretty okay at the moment. If it can stay this way to the end, we'll be sitting pretty. Although at the end of the first lap we have only managed to overtake 2 cars, so some considerable way to go with the leader 16 seconds down the road. So we come herring down towards the first corner. We're going to start braking around about the 150 meter board, getting it slowed down into 3rd gear. Again, if you want to see exactly where I'm braking, accelerating, where the gears, then just pause and rewind the video. For this one, I'm just looking at the beginning of the curb there, braking just ever so slightly just before there, jumping across the curb as much as we can to get on the back of Flagger. Again, down into 2nd gear for this particular corner to overtake another car under braking. Up through the gears as much as possible, and we're going to brake underneath the Dunlop sign. So full brake down into 2nd gear. Oh, we just caught the back of the Mazda there under braking. The Nissan has gone just a little bit wide, so we've managed to get up the inside. And as you can see, this one is frantic. 2nd gear, loads of curb over there, up into 3rd, then down into 2nd for rotation, using all of the curb here as well. Can we get around these 2 cars into the last corner under braking? A desperate move up the inside. We've got that done using the curb on the exit and 2nd gear, and then onto the main straight and up through the gears. So you can see how fast and furious this race is, especially trying to get through the traffic. So we've got a fastest lap of 1:31, and again, as we come down here, we're looking for that 150 meter board, bury the brake pedal, down into 3rd gear, looking for the apex, getting into the back of the car in front, had to back out of that ever so slightly, underneath the Audi Sport, watching for the beginning of that curb. Halfway down there's a black mark on the curb, braking on that, using all of the curb to overtake that particular car behind. And then as we come underneath the banner over the top there, just getting it slowed down into 2nd gear, up into 3rd, and then run all the way down the hill looking for the Dunlop sign. So as soon as you see the Dunlop sign, hitting the brake pedal, down into 2nd gear, loads of curb on the way in, loads of the curb on the way out of the chicane, and then loads of curb here. You can use those little orange bollards on these curbs to help you to get up onto the curb. So aim for the just to the inside of the little orange bollard. That will get your tyres nicely up onto the curb using that little bit of green Astro, and that will really help, no doubt, no end through there. Again, on that last corner, I was a little bit late into the corner, not using the apex. For that last corner, I could never really decide whether to go for the apex and jump over the curb, or whether to go deep into the corner and then swing back to get a more of a run down the fast straight. Both of those options seemed to work quite well in most cars that I was running. So if you do watch me, sometimes you're going to see me taking that corner one way, and sometimes you're going to see me taking it another. There will no doubt be an ideal and perfect way of taking that corner, and if you happen to be experienced and you know what that is, please feel free to share that in the comments below. But for the moment, these videos are all about how I run these races and get the gold as an average driver. So we'll come down towards the chicane again, heavily braking down into second gear, again using all of the curb. You can see just how much curb that you can use on the way in there. Trying to use these curbs as well, gone a little bit deep on that one, but did actually manage to get it turned in and back. This one, quite a lot of people go out towards the right of the track and then sweep across. Sometimes I do that, sometimes I just treat it like a compound corner and sort of hug the inside a little bit more. Maybe that is a little bit slower, but it worked for me in this particular instance. Just looking at the tyre situation right now, we are on the racing soft. We are 4 laps, 5 laps, this is the 5th lap, so 4 laps done. And we've got a little bit of even wear across all 4 tyres at the moment. So it looks like a few of the cars are starting to pit. That first one that went in was on medium tyres. Whether we should have gone racing soft or medium, we'll know at the end of this race. I decided to opt for the softs and just to try and look after them throughout the race. If you're a bit heavy on your tyres, then maybe medium would be the way to go. Managed to apex that corner quite nicely. Up into 3rd, 4th, 5th, just up through the gears, picking up 6th. As we come down the hill, 7th. Dunlop on the brakes, down into 2nd, loads of curb, and that's going to get us on the back of the Bugatti in front of us. That Bugatti is really, really quick, beautiful car. Looks nice, drives well, but hopefully it won't be a match for us, and we'll be able to get this move done fairly quickly. Again, I've gone a little bit deeper into that corner, just cutting back across, not quite picking up the apex. Should try and get a run down this main straight. We are just under, or just over half a second. So the car in front picking up slipstream, managed to get that move done on the Bugatti. Can we get down the inside of the McLaren as well? Yes, we can. Heavily braking into this corner, down into 3rd gear, almost went a little bit deep, but managed to get that move done. That's put us up into 4th place. 9.5 seconds now off of the leader. Setting purple sectors, and the times are looking good. We started off with a 131, we got a 130, a 129 and a 128. So we're pretty consistently taking the best part of a second a lap, quicker and quicker and quicker as we get through the traffic and as we get a better feel for this car. Can we get down the outside of the Nissan into this corner? Yes, we can, but we've gone a little bit deep. That's going to compromise us for the exit of the chicane. That's enabled the Nissan to come back at us, but we've managed to gather that up. Now I'm also looking at the weather radar at this point, because whilst we are okay with the teal and maybe the blue colour on these racing soft tyres, I mean the blue gets a little bit dodgy, there is some of that sort of greeny yellow colour in there. that mustardy colour, which is really going to cause us some problems if we get caught on the racing soft tyres. So we've dived into the pits on lap 6. Wilk was on soft tyres as well as us, so he's come in. Rubila was on mediums as well. What tyres are they going on? Let's see as our pit stop is completed. Oh, I didn't see Wilk. It looks like he didn't change. Yeah, I didn't see any of those tyre graphics changing to... Ooh, changing to winters. We've gone way deep. That's my first error on cold tyres. Seriously didn't slow that down fast enough. So we're on intermediate tyres. Are everybody else around us on slicks? I'm really confused now. You can see the spray that is coming up off the back of the Jaguar. You can also see the moisture graphic. I must learn what that's called. The amount of water that the car is kicking up. You can see that we're well into intermediate margins now. Nearly half of that gauge is completely full. I'm on the what should be the dry line. We're also getting into some more heavy rain right now, where we're coming into blues and greens on the weather map. So in my mind, the intermediate tyres at the very least were the tyre to be on. Looking at the weather, it could also be full wet, but as you will have seen in my most previous video, sometimes the wet tyre is not the one to be on, that the intermediate tyre is almost as good, and I did much better on the intermediate than I did the full wet. So we've got the top 3 runners are in now. They're on medium and hard tyres. Are they going to go inters now as we dive into first place? Let's just have a look at the graphics. Yes, they're now going intermediate tyres. So it looks like the AI has now decided that inters are the way to go. It looks like Wilk is in the pit. There's a few others pitting as well at the moment. I'm going to assume that they're all going to go intermediate tyres. So I would say that our intermediates have done a few laps more than our competitors, but there's no tyre wear on the intermediate tyres at the moment. So it looks like we are sitting pretty good with regards to tyres. We're on lap number 8. Fuel position is absolutely fine. We've got over half a tank of fuel left. So everything is really in hand at the moment. I would like to have been a bit further down the road, bearing in mind the cars behind, if they are on brand new intermediates, their tyres are going to be in a better condition than ours, but we are 4.5 seconds ahead of Wong behind us. Now it's just a case of just trying to keep it pointing in the straight line, getting it turned in, getting it slowed down, getting the acceleration done, and just try and maintain that gap to the car behind. We haven't got time for another pit stop. We do not have time for a spin or a big deviation on the racing line, so we really need to keep this all together. As we come down to start lap number 9, we find ourselves to be 6.8 seconds ahead of the car behind. I'm starting to brake a little bit earlier now, just because there's a bit more moisture on the track. We have actually taken the fuel map out to 6 full lean. I tend to do that when I am out in front and also when the weather isn't great. I just tend to find that it helps me getting the power down. It's not quite so aggressive, and by using that strategy you can see that we are quite nicely maintaining the margin to Wong behind. 6.7 now, 6.9, 7 seconds. The car is getting the power down quite nicely, the tyres look okay, the amount of moisture on the track that we are picking up is increasing though. That is borderline full wet weather tyres, still in the intermediate margins, and we are running quite nicely on these intermediate tyres. So it looks like we didn't take too much out of the tyres during the early part of the race, and hopefully we're going to have enough tyre to see us through to the end as we come around the last few corners of lap number 9, and then to start our final lap and see if we can bring this home in first place. So as we come around this last corner, just trying to get the power down as soon as we can, but without spinning it. So waiting, there we go, power down, up through the gears. As we come up towards the line, what is the margin going to be to one behind us? 7.5 at the moment, 7.6, 7.7. So 7.7 seconds is the gap behind. Just making a little bit of extra distance to the second place runner all of the time. Looks like Wong has dived into the pits on intermediates. That's a bit of a surprise. I wasn't really expecting anybody else to be pitting this late in the race. For now, we just want to try and keep it on that dark part of the track, stay off of the wet areas as much as possible. Just keep this going in a straight line. We're out in front, we don't need to do anything clever. So we're just slowing down a little bit earlier, turning in a little bit more gently, getting the power down a little bit more conservatively, and just trying to make this work. Wilk has on wets or gone on to wets. It looks like a lot of the other people are pitting as well. Not quite sure what they're doing with regards to their tyres. I would have thought that those intermediate runners would have just kept the intermediates to the very end. I didn't see the graphic change for Wilk and Beauvoir, so they seem to be on full wet and intermediate. So I do not know what the AI is doing with regards to their strategy. It's all over the place, but ours seems to be absolutely beautiful. A lovely strategy for this particular race. Coming around the last corner for a very comfortable win. Over 8 seconds ahead of Miyazono in second place, just breaking the 9 seconds there as we head up towards the line, and we get a win nice and easy in this beautiful car. Looks great, drives brilliantly. The intermediate tyres were absolutely the best way to go, and 9.8 seconds ahead of second place. 175,000 credits. The trophy is the most important. Didn't get the clean race, but then that's not what these videos are about. It's all about getting that gold trophy. So that is my strategy for a very changeable condition race again at Fuji. It started off nice and dry. It then became progressively wet throughout the race. We had a very strange set of tactics and strategy from the AI, changing to intermediates very late in the race and then seeming to have to pit again, and some of them were running on wet tyres. I really didn't get their strategy. Mine was I felt was a lot better, just starting off on the slicks and then changing to the intermediates at the right time, just watching that weather radar. And as soon as that weather started to come in, that was when we changed our boots for the inters. Worked really well. So if you like this video, please hit the like button. If you're new around here, please hit the subscribe button, because both really help the channel. I can do with all the help that I can get right now as I try and grow it. And if you are a current subscriber, back for more, thank you ever so much for continuing to support me. It is greatly appreciated, and I thank you from the bottom of my heart. For now, I'm going to leave this one, and I will see you on another video coming tomorrow. See you then. Bye bye.